Before we begin, welcome back to the show. Now, I'm on a mission to spread these conversations to as many people as I can. If you could do me the small favor of clicking the follow button on Spotify or clicking subscribe on YouTube, it does make a massive difference in helping me bring on bigger guests who provide even more value. So thank you and enjoy the episode. Lisa Spencer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So
take me through, I guess, the early chapters of your journey from music and how that segued into comedy.
Oh my gosh. I'd been doing music for like many years since I was like 5 and releasing a lot of music. I made an album during COVID, and then after COVID, I wanted to finish the album, and I had it in my mind that I needed to go to Byron Bay. For some strange reason, that was where I was going to finish my album. And moved up to Byron Bay and did finish my album, but what actually happened was I started to like notice these kind of funny things. Everyone had these baskets, everyone was eating Loco Loves, everyone was wearing Nagnata, and then I just started to get all these funny video ideas. And then I just made the videos, and I think it was about 3 or maybe 5 videos in, they just blew up, and that was kind of how it started. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought kind of to bring people to my music, I'll make videos. And then as soon as I started getting more and more ideas and I enjoyed it, I was loving it, I realized, maybe I'll just do this instead. And from there it's been like, maybe I'll do stand-up comedy, or maybe I'll do this, I'll do that. And that's how it started.
How do you find that journey of being sort of an entertainer in music? Because a lot of the success of an entertainer rides on the approval of the crowd, right? You need people to like your music. So what was that whole process like of creating music, I guess, originally from like a place of inspiration, and then needing people to like your music for it to really rise?
Yeah, I mean, that was a thing that I think I battled with music, was seeking validation and seeking people's approval, because it is quite like you're putting your heart on your sleeve. It's very emotional music, especially the type of music I was making. And then I think doing comedy or doing these funny videos, it wasn't like I was seeking that approval of like, I need people to like this. It was like, I find this funny, here you go. And so it was quite different, the energy that it was coming from. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but...
Yeah, because I find we often start things from like a very authentic place. Like, for example, the podcast, I started because I really had this calling to want to learn from people, want to find my voice. And then over time, as you want to make it into something, you slowly start to outsource what you're doing to the crowd, because you need sort of listens, you need downloads, you need it. You need almost other people to help you succeed, and you can slowly move away from what really called you in the first place. So I just wanted to get your opinion on your own journey.
Yeah, I think I've definitely noticed what you just said there. I've definitely noticed I can tell what would work on the algorithm and what people would like. And there is a little fine line of like, okay, I know that this is gonna work, but it's not really what I want to be doing. Or I know that perhaps the start of my journey, I started taking the piss out of the spiritual community, but that's not really where I want to be going now. And, I could always do these things that I think people will like, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't feel true. And I just have to keep going with what feels true and right for me. And sometimes what feels true and right for me doesn't end up getting any, approval or validation, or, doesn't do as well on the internet or whatever. And then sometimes it does. And sometimes my favorite content performs the worst. And then sometimes my least favorite performs the best. And it's like, well, you can't really base what you're doing on other people's approval or, whatever, because you'll end up hating yourself if you keep doing that.
Do you have almost like an itch to replicate the content that goes well? Like, even if it doesn't feel like it was your personal favorite, is there almost like a inclination to want to make that content because it will perform well?
Not really. Not really, because I mean, it's like that thing you see like a sequel of a movie and it never is as good as the first. And so I kind of live it like that, even though I'll do series. Like my recent one I'm doing this satire piece where I say that I'm Indian. It's very silly, but but it's like I just keep getting these ideas, even though it's not, blowing up heaps. Well, it did on Twitter, but even though it's like not everyone's favorite, I just get these little snippets to keep going and kind of make it a series, but I'm not trying to like replicate it. And I have done that. Like I did a Byron-based starter kit video, and then I did a part 2, and it's never as good.
Yeah.
It's never as good, but if it feels right to do it, then I don't see why not.
What do you think the purpose of satire is in our society?
I think it really is to critique and question authority and power. Like that's the deep part of it. And I've thought about this a lot. I think you could say something to someone, like you could critique someone, and it would just come across as so rude and so horrible. But if you say it with a joke, they're like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. And they might reflect on it and be like, oh, that was true, And it kind of just lands a little bit softer. Not all the time. Some people are offended.
Like I was looking back through the history of comedy because I was super interested in how comedy was used in the past. So what I found was it started around 5th century BCE, and humour was used to criticise leaders, society and culture, and the purpose was to give the public a safe outlet to confront corruption and, I guess, hold public figures accountable.
Yeah.
Which I find is almost impossible to do now with this politically correct era that we live in.
Yes and no. So right now, like, especially in Victoria, we've got these like anti-vilification laws, like against hate speech, whatever that is. But satire, comedy and the arts are protected still. So yeah, technically it's still protected that any comedian or artist can say hate speech, whatever that is, as long as it's through their art form.
So your content is protected?
Damn right. That's the trick. If you you've got to be an artist. But there might be some... What I can imagine is they'll start saying that this person is just pretending to be an artist and that they're using this art form to be hateful, when that's the thing, is like this, it has to be protected, satire and any comedy, because it is an outlet. And if comedy goes, if they start enforcing laws against it, that's freedom of speech is gone. That's it. Yeah.
I feel like that's where we're heading, but I think the role of comedy is super, super important. Plato said comedy is a release of the hidden truth disguised in jest, and there's so much truth in what you're saying and the content that you're creating. People are so scared to say what they truly think, and comedy plays this like middle ground role between what people are unconsciously or consciously too scared to admit, and it creates this like safe place for people to explore these ideas.
Yep.
I was playing around with ChatGPT and I came up with a theory. It's called Spencer's theory of reflective humour.
This is great.
Okay, here we go. When a comedian highlights contradictions or inconsistencies in public figures, laws, or cultural narratives, audiences are invited to laugh at what they might otherwise feel conflicted, guilty, or uncomfortable about. This laughter provides psychological relief while simultaneously encouraging reflective insight into social hypocrisy, inconsistency, or absurdity. Humour becomes both entertainment and a lens for understanding society.
Yep.
Spot on.
Spot on. Yeah.
Because I think what your content indirectly does, right, is I think people love it because of the freedom it gives them to explore the things that they're too scared to say, and maybe tap into that. Why do you think there's so much fear around speaking our truth?
Well, they get attacked for it. That's as simple as that. Like, I still get attacked. I've lost a lot of friends. You'll lose people. You'll lose things. You might lose opportunities. You know, people are losing their jobs over their political views. So it's very real. I don't think that's right. I think that we should be able to live in a society where we have different views, and that's okay. We can debate ideas, you know, what we were saying before with Charlie Kirk. It's like, you should be able to debate ideas and not be killed for it, not be fired for it even. I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's this thing like hate speech, inciting hate, but you really have to reflect on like what is inciting hate, what is hate speech, because it's coming down from someone else's perspective. And just because you're offended doesn't mean anything. It's feelings. It's doesn't mean you're right. I think Ricky Gervais says that. Yeah.
I feel like we're being forced to latch onto extremes, right?
Yeah.
Both sides of the coin. That's because not only is the algorithm rewarding like extreme views, but I think I wrote something about this a while ago and I saw one of your threads. Like, it almost feels like you're lonely in the middle. Most people hold a pretty conservative middle ground of view. But there's almost like these ideological tribes that are forming on both ends, and it feels almost lonely to like have like be neutral about something and not have an opinion and want to explore that. It's almost like we're being forced to take up a strong opinion so that we can fit in with one side or the other.
I think having a strong opinion or having a opinion means you've got like boundaries, I think, because if you've got no opinion, like where do you lie? What direction are you going to go? So I think having an opinion on something is a good thing. You don't have to, but maybe if it keeps coming up, you're like, oh, maybe I should learn about this thing. Maybe I should make an opinion about it. But I don't even know where the middle is anymore. Like, I thought I was quite middle, and it almost, it's like I'm staying here, but I just keep getting put more and more on the right. But I don't think I've really changed that much. Yeah, I feel like the extremes are like going so far. But then I do see, this might be controversial, but I do see way more insane people on the left, even though there's no like, you know, whatever. But they probably need some accountability there.
I love this like quote from Chris Williamson, which was about having strong beliefs loosely held, but most of us have loose beliefs strongly held. And I think we are forced, like we've been talking about, to latch on to something extreme. It's really hard to have, because a lot of these, there's so much moral like judgments or insults that are thrown around with these topics, right? They're quite heavy when it comes to like abortion, immigration, sexuality. There's so many strong emotional topics, and people are throwing all of these like moral insults towards people when they have a certain opinion. How would you advise someone to navigate their own exploration of ideas when they don't actually have an accurate conclusion? They might not have an opinion, but they feel almost pressured to be on one side or the other.
I don't know. I form a lot of my opinions through my own experience. So I would hope that that's someone's journey as well. Like, I mean, you can learn a lot through reading books and through listening to others, but I feel like you learn the most when you go through something. So not that you have to have an opinion, to have a experience to have an opinion, but I don't know. Like abortion, for instance. So many people on the pro-feminist, what are they called? Pro-choice, pro-abortion. They have had the abortions, but so yeah, they do have the experience. And then you have the people that are anti-abortion, pro-life, that have also had the abortions and regretted it. So it's interesting. So you never come up with the same conclusion from your experience. But Yeah, I don't know. The abortion one. I mean, I could talk about the abortion one just from my own experience.
What happened there?
So when I was younger, when I was about 23, 24, I got pregnant and I had an abortion. And it wasn't until maybe about a year later where I really understood what had happened. Because, yeah, part of my understanding is that we are told in society to just willy-nilly have abortions, to, you know, if you get pregnant, then you can just get rid of it and all your problems are gone. And so I thought it was just a willy-nilly thing, you know? And then it was about a year later where I really, I started to get these dreams where it was like that experience. And because I had the abortion while I was under, so I wasn't conscious, but obviously it was still there unconsciously. And it was a very significant trauma. And I realized that I had just killed my baby. And that's quite a deep thing to realize that. And through that experience, I've learned that abortion is killing babies. And I would never, ever, ever do that again. And I hope that people wake up to that. I think more people are. But we are fed all these narratives to even the word abortion, like they've put all these words on it to make you think that there's nothing wrong with it. It's pro-choice, but as soon as you say what it is, it's killing a child. People get really angry, but that's what it is. Yeah,
I guess
that was deep.
I guess it's the packaging, right? Around, it's the marketing, it's the packaging around these controversial opinions that take fold. How did that shape, I guess, your journey then into comedy after that experience? Did that have an influence on how you saw yourself in the world?
It meant I stopped having sex with stupid people. That's, and I think I do promote that belief that if you're going to be intimate with someone, make sure that you want to have a child with them and that they're the right person. But I don't think it really shaped my comedy per se. It's just shaped my opinions. Yeah.
Take me through the Abby Chatfield situation. So something that I found super interesting about your perspectives is you were able to point out sort of the moral hypocrisies that she showed, especially around abortion and then with the vaccinations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't know who Abby Chatfield was, but a bunch of my followers kept showing me her content. And then I just went through it and I was like, holy moly, the amount of hypocrisy there is. On one hand, I saw her telling everyone to get vaccinated and that you're basically an immoral person if you don't, and that you're killing people if you don't get vaccinated. That's what she was saying. And then on the other hand, she's saying, have abortions, kill your babies, and saying, your body, your choice. But on the other hand, no, you should be vaccinated. So, yeah.
Well, that's the exact same thing that happened with my friend who got sort of cancelled by Abby Chatfield, right?
Nice.
And she, because, there was a video of him on social media crying, and she literally destroyed him through her platform and used her followers to attack him. But then she literally complained about the exact same thing that happened to her when she started crying about all these mean comments that she was getting. So she continues to show hypocrisy.
Yeah.
But what do you think makes someone like that so unaware of how hypocritical they are?
I don't know.
Because they must be convinced. Because
she does a lot of therapy, and I've heard that's what happens. So I don't know if she's just being validated in her experience so much that she's not actually, having the real hard reflections, where you have to see what you're doing is the same thing. Whether she doesn't have the right community around her, she's propped up by a lot of people that idolize her. Whether she doesn't have it like friends, family that tell her the truth, who knows? I mean, she's making people a lot of money, so why would they stop her?
That's what I mean. I think she gets heavily funded, right, to push these narratives because she creates headlines and she has a lot of people who follow her.
Yeah.
How do you find this? I heard you write about it before, which I found super interesting, is the difference between how people show up online versus in person. There's almost like an inconsistency, and I would find that would almost apply especially to all these extreme influencers, say Abby Chatfield, like how she would show up on Instagram where she feels bulletproof because she's got this army of Abby Chatfield fans versus in person. A lot of your commentary was around the inconsistencies that people show in their behaviour. So what do you think? What do you think about the difference between what social media has created now in our society versus if we didn't have that, because people wouldn't feel as safe and protected to be like that in real life?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. I mean, on one hand, I can see that on social media we are showing our true selves, like we're being more honest, perhaps online than we are in person, say. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's also the element of the algorithm. So, when you do more extreme stuff, the algorithm pushes it because it likes the division. So it's not like me having my opinions that might be, say on abortion or whatever. I can say that on social media, but it's not like I would just say that willy-nilly in real life. It's only like these kind of opportunities in person that you really talk about these opinions. Whereas online, it's kind of more encouraged to speak these opinions, as you said before, like to have an opinion on social media is like, I mean, look at the content now. People are doing reaction videos. Like that's a big thing right now. So they're literally just reacting to a video. So having an opinion now is like, you kind of have to, as you said. But yeah, I don't know the difference between real life and social media. I don't know.
Because I feel like on one hand, like you said, people are saying more of what they almost want to say. But I'm like, how much of this do people truly believe versus like the algorithms rewarding it? And I just feel like there's such a contrast between what social media reflects around society and where we're actually at. Like the average person that I talk to does not hold such extreme opinions. But
how do you know?
Because I feel like I've had these like open dialogues, and that's the thing. It's like, is it an echo chamber? Because it's a good point, because we follow people that just reinforce what we believe. Because at the end of the day, social media apps want to keep us on there. So what's the best way? Is to make us feel good about what we believe. So they'll just keep pushing the narratives. And it's like, is social media truly a place for exploration, or are we just... Because I saw a post that was about hating on men, right? And all the comments, every single comment is just agreeing. How many comment sections do you see? Not too many, where it's like an actual fair debate or a contest of ideas, right? It's just a moral insult. There's very little open dialogue. I don't know if it's because we can't tolerate that. Like we don't have the society, people don't have a tolerance for uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the way that the algorithm is fed. So you're not going to get, well, you might, but very rarely you're going to get a video that is so different to your own opinion, unless you're like...
Unless you like that, and then they'll give you that because you want to be...
Yes, and I've been trying to do that so that I do get the opposite opinions on my feed. And then I will sometimes comment with my opinion on like what I think, like whatever they've said. And the thing that happens is you just get absolutely slammed after that. Like everyone's comment replying is just like me, like F you, blah, 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 blah. So it does, I think people just stop commenting on that stuff and stop giving a different opinion. And so then it's just all the comments just reflect, that belief.
What do they say about you? What is sort of the commentary that you get?
I don't see a lot of it, honestly, but I get called all the words, racist, white supremacist, transphobic.
Privileged? That word gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it?
Privileged, yeah, privileged. All the words. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I just, like I said before, there was this guy that did a few videos on me just slamming my opinions and calling me racist. And so I just commented on his video being like, let's debate these ideas then. And he wasn't even willing to debate them. So he can slander me, but he's not even willing to back up his opinions, which I think is just absolutely cowardly, but whatever. Like I'm willing to debate these ideas and to see a different perspective. And I think that's what we need. But some people are just not willing to, because they've labelled you as this thing. They're like, well, this woman is a racist. Why would I debate a racist?
Yeah, they frame it so they can get out of it. How do you think comedy and even tracing further back to music has allowed you to tolerate rejection? Because at its core, if you can't tolerate rejection, you're not going to be able to speak your truth. So has your music journey and then your journey into comedy allowed you to, I guess, bulletproof yourself a bit so that you can speak more of your voice?
I don't know, because it's funny, when I was in music, I was really afraid to speak my opinions because it's so, like in Australia especially, it's very much owned by the left. Triple J, ABC really controls the music industry in Australia. And so they don't platform anyone that has more conservative views. So I was actually way more afraid when I was doing music to speak my opinion. And I would say the only thing that's really helped me is my upbringing. My dad was always debating ideas and always saying things. He was always trying to rage bait me, all this stuff. So,
It's
yeah.
Dad. So the upbringing that's been modelled to you by your dad was super useful for you understanding how to sit with ideas you didn't believe in. So how did he rage bait you? What was?
Oh, he would be like, we never should have given the women the vote, like all that stuff. Which, I mean...
But that could easily push you into becoming a feminist, or like if you know what I mean.
I could have hated my dad. I could have thought he was a sexist and all this stuff. And there was a point, because I did go to public school, so I was indoctrinated through all of that ideology. But I also had an older brother. I don't know. I was able to wake up from all the indoctrination and be like, oh, I think my dad was right. Like my dad used to say from the get-go, climate change isn't real. It's just all for money, blah, 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 blah. And I thought he was crazy. I thought he was real crazy. But then I was like, I think he's right. So from there, I've seen a lot of the things that he's said. I'm like, he was kind of right. Not all of the things, for sure. And I do push back on some things that he talks about. But yeah, I don't know. My parents used to fight a lot as well. And so I would try and get into that fight as well. And so I've grown up around like seeing my parents fight. I would see their contradictions. I would see that one person was in the wrong and just, kind of projecting their stuff or whatever. And so I would see this hypocrisy whilst my parents were fighting, and I would always try and point it out. So maybe that's where it comes from. I'm just trying to stop my parents from fighting.
It's no fighting. Abby Chatfield in Australia. Were there any other moments that like sort of removed this veil underneath your eyes around what was happening in Australia? Like what, besides like your dad sort of instilling some of these different perspectives into you, was COVID a huge catalyst to thinking differently?
Yes, afterwards though. So I love when people are like, when did you become awake?
Yeah, well, I guess it's a series of micro moments. I mean, sometimes it is a big pivotal moment that forces you to completely shift your worldview, but I guess consciousness is an ever-evolving, peeling back of the layers journey.
Yeah, for me it was just after COVID and leaving Melbourne. I moved down to the peninsula and I don't know, and going through a breakup and losing a lot of friends.
What was the friends? Was that during, because you were posting comedy stuff? Was that directly tied?
No, that was before that. It was, I was starting to use my voice more. It was kind of just after COVID and I was noticing the trans agenda was like, some of my friends were like posting things like the word female is offensive. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? It's biology. And then that would lead to the talking about the trans thing. And I was like, this is so wrong. What do you know? And so I started to speak out on that. And also I used to be in a real party scene in Melbourne. Partying in Melbourne is a big thing. And I started to leave that, stop drinking, stop doing drugs, had a breakup. So it was like leaving a whole identity of myself. And yeah, that's when I started to wake up to the whole COVID stuff. I just made an album during COVID. So I just went boom into myself, didn't look at the news, didn't even have any discussion on COVID. I didn't even notice what was going on during COVID. I was just doing my own thing. I didn't have a job, so I was just making music and just like trying to live my life in inner suburb Melbourne. So yeah, it wasn't until after, and then I woke up to it and I was so mad. I was so angry. I got the vaccines. I got 2 of them to go see my brother get married in Germany. So I put off for ages and then I was like, whatever, I'll just get them to travel to Germany. Luckily, didn't have any reactions or whatever. But then when I got back from Germany, that's when I was like, what the hell? Like, I just got these vaccines that I didn't believe in because I didn't, like, the whole COVID thing I didn't believe was a bad thing. Like, I realised what I'd done, that I'd wimped out basically. And then I got quite angry at what happened. Angry
at what, yourself?
There has been a little bit of that for sure. Like, oh, why wasn't I just awake before that? Like I got angry at some friends as well. I've got like some anti-vax friends and I was kind of angry that they didn't tell me, that they weren't vocalizing what was going on. And that's kind of why I am a big advocate of speaking up, is so that you can let other people know as well. So yeah, I was angry at them. I was angry at the government, really angry at Dan Andrews, angry at all the pharmaceutical companies, everyone profiting, and yeah, angry at myself that I wasn't aware of it and that I kind of, because I heard there was some doctors giving fake vaccines. That would have been nice, so I could go to Europe regardless, because I wasn't going to miss out on my brother getting married. That wasn't in my But from there I realized there was a much bigger agenda, and it wasn't just the COVID thing. There was a much bigger agenda through it all, and now I'm like noticing all the things. Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult for people to start becoming aware, because they're literally trapped in a system that's selling them. Like, you should be able to trust your government. Like, you should be able to trust your friends and family and the people around you, that they have your best interests at heart. There's so much cognitive dissonance that arises as soon as we start thinking, or maybe the government doesn't have our best interests. Like, it starts, if you doubt that, then you have to question everything in your life, the job you have, the friends you have. And that's so scary for people to to go through. I mean, I've been fortunate to have that sort of instilled in me from the get-go, but for people to have their whole lives be like, because when you become conscious, it starts to expose the lie, and that's almost scary to confront the reality that I've been living a lie for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
100%. Yeah.
So what happened with the relationships in your life as you started to become more vocal and aware? You said you lost some friends.
I lost so many friends, and I'm still continuing to lose friends. The big thing now that I'm very vocal on is immigration. And yeah, I'm losing quite a lot of friends through that. But what you gonna do?
What's your perspective on immigration?
Oh, I'm pretty staunch. I'm like, get everyone out. But no. But I want the criminals out, the ones that aren't born here and they're committing crimes. There's a lot in Melbourne. I want them out. I want the temporary student visas. They're all a sham. They're all a scam.
Why is that?
Well, most of them aren't really, like they do these degrees and it's all to get permanent residency. So filling up all of our universities with international students. Some of them don't even speak English, don't have, they're not going to be assimilating really. And yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing.
There's a lot around where we're staying here at the moment, and it's quite like I almost feel like the foreigner in my own country, and it's like almost, and it's not, and a lot of them don't speak English. That's the thing. It's not like they're conversing and they're able to almost fit in. Like you can't even have a conversation, or
it's just money. At the end of the day, they're bringing in a lot of money, and you can see, like, whoever tries to shut anyone's voice down who speaks up against mass immigration, you can see who's backing them. It's all like they're all to do with the property or student visas or whatever. They're benefiting off all of these people coming in. So, of course, they're going to want to shut these voices down that speak up against it. Yeah, it's... And then people that come here that are just so un-Australian, like... They're pushing these agendas that are anti-Australian. Like, why would you come to this country and not like it or not like Australian people? There's a big agenda, I think, going on that I think we can all see in Western civilization. And I mean, it's really like a depopulation thing. They want to stop population.
Because there's no real spirit of Australia anymore, if you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't really feel like there's this honour to be an Australian like it used to feel like when I was growing up, when I was younger. Like, the feeling proud, talking about the history of Australia. It just feels like we're just letting everyone in and we're all happy. And, like, this political correctness, I think, ties in as well because, like, there's just no... Like, what does it mean to be an Australian? Like, I don't even know what that really means anymore.
Well, that's the whole conversation, is that you get people, and it's usually the boomers, it's the older people, they'll say, to be an Australian is you have to hold these values, and that's all it is. And if you can hold these values and you like Australia, then you're Australian. But then that gets rid of the whole ethnic part of it, which it's a thing. It's like you just can't... If you've got a family history of like living in India for years and years and years and you're full-blown Indian coming to Australia and then just going, I'm an Aussie because I hold these Australian values, you're ignoring your whole genetic DNA. And the reality is, and it's very controversial for some reason, but Australia was formed from these Anglo-Celtics. They came to Australia and settled. Whether that was a bad or good thing, who knows? But yes, of course, there were Aboriginals here and they are, this is their land. But it's almost, if we were to say something, maybe at least it's like bicultural. But the multicultural thing is a very new thing, really. And they're pushing it on us. And in that process, then that gets rid of the actual history of Australia, which were the Anglo-Celtics. And, you know, there's other things, you know, a lot of them were Christian as well. So that a lot of our values as Australian did come from Christianity, but it really was the Anglo-Celtic. Yeah.
Because a lot of these countries, they just outnumber us incredibly. Like, they will flood our country and we will just lose what the meaning of, like, we can easily become, like you said, lose our boundaries, lose our identity, and then we just become
outnumbered. We're not having enough babies.
Yeah.
That all the other civilizations, all the other people are having way more babies, and they're just going to overpopulate us.
But then that's part of their, I guess, the economic structure that they've put in. Like, it's incredibly difficult to afford anything, right? People can barely afford to have a kid, so.
Yeah. Well, I push back on that, and I do hear that a lot. Like, I've got some friends with kids, and they, you know, they kind of limit themselves, and they are like, oh, this is all we can afford. But I have seen people have heaps of kids on not much money. So I don't know if it's whether we have grown up in Australia having a very high level of living standards. So it might, we are going to, well, I don't want to adjust to a lower living standard, and I don't think many Aussies want to, but it's kind of been forced upon us because of bringing in so many people, lack of housing. People are having to lower their living standards.
Because I don't think having like a strong family unit is like as aspired as it once used to be.
Well, that's a whole agenda.
Yeah, I know that's part of like the whole thing around feminism as well. Like, it takes away the pride of, like, the role of being a good mum. Like, I have the best mum in the world, number one role, but you can feel almost like that's never going to be good enough now. Like, that's the narrative that's being pushed. Like, you have to be this businesswoman, and they want women to feel inadequate if they're just a good mother. I mean, like, there is the economic side of it, right? Like, it's also difficult to live off a single income, but then there's not many people have that goal as well, like to have that strong nuclear family.
I think especially in the cities, it seems to be more like a city thing. Whereas if you get out of the city, more people are like, let's have heaps of babies. Let's like make sure we're homeschooling, or, you know, stay at home mom, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Maybe we should move everyone to the Australians. We're getting kicked out of our own cities.
All the immigrants will be in the cities.
Yeah.
The Aussies will
Well,
be
there's
out.
enough room. We're just
Yeah. That's probably what's happening.
It is.
But I mean, that is the thing though. Like, the city is becoming a bit, what's the word? Like, you can't really live in the city. You know, you got all these big apartment buildings. It's kind of away from our natural humanity, you know, where nature is a big thing. And, you know, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want to live here.
No.
Like, this is, like, I reckon the place I'm living back home is pretty perfect. It's like obviously near the beach, but it's not, like, all of my neighbors are like, yes, we're not super close, but like everyone, you feel like you're part of this like community. Whereas right now in this place, I just feel lost. I know it's only been a few days, but like, I feel like I just don't feel like I'm in Australia.
But that's the thing is like it is a Christian value as well as love thy neighbor, but it was always that you would know your neighbors, you'd be friendly, you might even go over to their house. Like, that's the thing. But now it's like people have to have security cameras. We've got big fences, especially if you're in the city or an apartment building. You don't even know people that live in your apartment building. And
that's where I'm just thinking, because our physical safety has been almost minimized, right? It almost people trying to compensate at a deeper level to like their ideological beliefs.
Yeah. I think it also is like Oh man, it's how am I going to say this? When we bring in so many people from other countries with totally different values, different ways of life, different languages, you build up this wall. It's an unconscious thing because we don't know, and we do have this idea of what is safe, who's friend, who's foe, and we look for these patterns, right? We're like, okay, that thing looks dangerous, stay away. And and the reality is a lot of us are feeling unsafe with who's coming into the country and who's committing the crime. So yeah, I know people that have left suburbs because of this. They've left a lot of Melbourne suburbs and they've moved out because of just how unsafe they felt. You know, constant break-ins. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, Australia has changed, and not all the places, not all the places. Definitely out of the cities are generally okay, but it's only gonna expand from the way that I see it, unless you limit how many people come in and where they come from. I only see this getting worse and people expanding. Like I mean, even down the peninsula where I am. It used to be like really just all Aussies, and now there's just more immigrants coming down, and it's fine, but there's a level of like, this isn't Australia anymore.
Yeah, where's that line between accepting the differences of people, like the nuance around like racism? Because like what you're saying would easily be slapped on the label of racism.
Yeah, damn right.
Healthy racist. But how do you thread that bow around like why it's not racist to believe in strong boundaries and not immigrating everyone?
Yeah. Well, I just wonder, like, what about you go to any country and they're more racist. They are. Every country is racist. Every nationality is racist, and I like to say it's pattern recognition, and it is. It's not like I'm hating these people. I don't hate them. I don't, and I just see clear. I see these signs of maybe disrespect and signs of we're losing our country. Not to say that we will, I don't know, but you know, you go to India, you expect Indians. You go to Japan, you expect Japanese. And I mean, Japan, they're even way more racist. They're not allowing much immigration at all because they want to protect their culture and protect their people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So why is Australia government and why are we so weak in enforcing strong boundaries? Like what's pushing our needle in the other direction?
I don't know. Some people are blaming a certain type of person right now. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a whole agenda across Western civilization. It's happening in the UK, America, Europe. The British Empire seems to be falling. So that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of our leaders are just bought out. Like, you see Albo shaking hands with the Indian Prime Minister, probably making a big deal of how many Indians they're going to bring in. So yeah, I don't know. I think our leaders have just sold us out for money, for profit.
Do you think they've got this evil plan, or do you think they're sort of unconscious to what they're doing and they're just sort of naive puppets in a bigger system?
I think they're naive puppets. Yeah. I think there is evil, I think, but I don't think that our leaders are that smart. I think they're puppets for sure.
If you were redesigning the system to change from top down, what would you do?
I don't know. I don't know.
So how would you get?
I would get rid of a lot of government. I want very limited government. I want way less government.
In terms of what?
In terms of like, I don't want all these departments for everything, having all these laws. I think we don't need so many laws.
Around what though? Like, what sort of laws are being?
I mean, there's the anti-vilification laws that are coming in around speech, what you can and can't say. There's...
Well, I feel like the problem is who's interpreting all this, right? Like, the people interpreting this are almost puppets in the system and doing what they've been told to do. So it's like, whatever the laws are, the rules are, the person who interprets them and is responsible for punishing people matters almost more than what the law is itself. Like, if it's a strong, grounded Australian with traditional values and they're interpreting a series of laws, it'll probably be a positive result. But because these people are paid out and there's an agenda behind it, no matter what the law says, it's going to be probably a net negative result for Australians.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that they're trying to make this bigger split in the elites having just like billions of money, and they're trying to make all the people have way, way less money and kind of get rid of the middle class.
So we're dependent on the system. So that's where the digital IDs coming in, right? So we have to, so we can get our breadcrumbs from the wealthy elites. We have to follow exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're pushing us into survival mode.
Yep. It really, yep.
So what do you think people can do on a ground level? Like, if let's say someone's listening, right, and they're like fully agree with what we're saying, but they don't even know what to do with the opinions that they have. They're quite reserved in their life. They want to start to influence or speak their truth, make a bit of a difference in their community, or maybe even through social media. What would you recommend they do?
I'm like leaning towards like nothing is making a difference, but that's very what's the word, pessimistic. No, I just think speak up about it, talk about it with friends, whatever platform that you have, use it. If it's just with friends or family, talk about it. Yeah, I mean, the politics, I do think the two major parties, they're like the same now, or they're run by the same people. So I don't know. I know that there's something coming, like, you know, in nature when everything has a cycle. And like giving birth, for instance, making a human baby, there's these contractions just before a birth and they get quicker and quicker. I feel like that's where we're at, that these events keep happening quicker and quicker, like digital ID, all these things. And I'm like, what is next? What is the birth? So yeah, whether it's a revolution or whether it's a bigger oppression, I don't know, something. So I don't know what you can do in that other than, well, the way that I live, I believe in God and I listen to God. And so I've got like God first, family next, and then country. Those are my kind of three big values that I look after and support. So I think that's really, I think that's a good way to live, but I wouldn't force it on anyone. But they might have to like consider what God is asking them to do in this, and then they have to look after their family, and then they have to look after their country, whatever that looks like. Yeah.
I saw your thread about the psychological and spiritual war that we're going through, right? Like, it's happening at a level that's not even physical. It's like they're changing the way we see ourselves. A lot of what we talked about ties in here. But what do you think are some of these tactics the average person isn't aware of that they're throwing onto us?
Distraction, number one, our phones, social media. That's probably the biggest one. Any sort of addictive thing, alcohol, anything that you could possibly get addicted to. TV, all of that.
Television.
Yeah. Netflix, all of that. And yeah, through the programming of these things as well, like whose voices they're pushing online, their message, what messages they're pushing. There's so much propaganda. Yeah. What else?
There's a lot of, have you seen a lot of these children's television shows, like the programming that's happening? I saw one the other day, like they're programming all this transgender stuff and all this, like,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. My brother has a baby and, well, he's like nearly 2 years old, I think. Yeah. And occasionally they put on this show called Miss Rachel. Do you know Miss Rachel? Okay. It's this American lady and she's fun. She's like, hi, can you say, all the children thing. But what I did notice in one episode was they had this guitar player who was a trans person, so a woman, but like no breasts. And I kind of flagged it. Like she wasn't doing anything. She was just playing guitar, but I was like, I flagged it. And then I went on her social media, this Miss Rachel girl, and all of her posts are to do with Gaza and like all these Gaza children and whatever. I was like, but how is this appropriate for children? Like you're directing all your content towards children and then on her social media it's all to do with Gaza and all of that. And I flagged it again. And then I saw she was doing an episode where she showed this little kid who lost his or her leg from a bomb, and she was showing this to children. I was like, this is just so inappropriate. The effects of war, you're not. I would never tell a child about that. And then I realized that's how they do it. Is they slowly put these little things in until voila, they're full on sharing it. So I think with the trans stuff, like they slowly do these things like, oh, do you know about pronouns? And then it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it just goes down this long line and parents miss it, unfortunately. Maybe they're distracted and then they let their kids, they trust this children's TV because it's been so trustworthy this whole time, but, and it's gone.
Well, that's the problem. Like when we're young, our subconscious mind is so open and suggestible up until around 7. So it's like this programming has such a big role in what they think is normal. So suddenly when they're 13 years old and society's telling them about all these things around transgender or their sexuality, like deep down within their psyche, they think this is normal. And it's an interesting one that I'm navigating here around like, how do we tolerate, or not even tolerate, but have respect for people's autonomy and their choices and letting people be who they are. But it's coming to the point where it's being pushed so hard onto us that if we don't have boundaries, we're going to be manipulated, controlled, coerced. So how do we find, there's this tension between having strong boundaries, but also having that empathy and respect for another person as well?
I think if it's just not pushed on anyone, then we're good. But it's just when they start pushing it on others, especially children. It's like, why would you do that? It's especially other people's children. I don't get it.
I've had that before where like we had a family friend who had a little girl, we've got 2 little girls dressed up in ballerina costumes, dancing around. They had a family friend come over who started telling them like, you don't have to be a girl, you can be a boy if you want, because she was like quite a bit of a leftist. And it's like, how is that acceptable to tell someone as well? Because it's not, that's exactly what we're talking about. They're pushing their narrative onto these young people who are innocent and naive to this world, and their innocence is being corrupted. Like, it's a scary proposition now. Like, children's innocence is being robbed of them.
Yeah. That's a whole thing. It's because it's easier to put this ideology into a child's brain because, it's still developing. So they do target children because of that. In all the TV movies, they're targeting children, even like pop stars. Like, I think pop stars now are just like strippers that sing. Like that's what they're doing. Like they're half naked and they're singing, and a lot of them are targeting children. Like their parents will allow their kids to come to these pop stars, like, and it's just
because they're guilting parents into what sort of good parent would rob their child of a experience because they love this person so much.
Yeah.
Because what happens is it's like my parents taking away the thing I love, and then it creates this conflict in the family home.
Yeah, I mean, and pop music, children love it. Like, you just love bopping along, and then all of a sudden it's like Taylor Swift half naked, you know? It's evil. It is evil, you know? And even now, like, you know, you see all these women, and yeah, a lot of it are pop stars. They're like half naked. They've got their titties out. And so women think that that's like acceptable, you know. And then now we've got like, I don't know, we're living in sin, basically. Living in sin.
Yeah, there's a massive over-sexualization in our society, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, on one hand, this is liberation for women. They can finally express themselves. So it's being packaged up in a progressive framework that it's enriching their life.
Empowered whores. That's
That's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because anyone who pushes back against that, especially white men in Australia.
Well, the white men are, that's the whole thing, is like the Marxist ideology, where a lot of this stuff comes from, this leftist ideology, a lot of it comes from Marxism. And a part of it is that the white male is the biggest oppressor, so therefore they can't have a voice because they're an oppressor, and they should be giving everyone else a voice. But in the meantime, that then flips the whole hierarchy to be who's the most oppressed hierarchy. And it's just, I mean, there are natural hierarchies. We just have to, in nature there is, you know, a lion isn't going to be the same as a little rat, you know. It just doesn't work like that. The animal kingdom has these hierarchies naturally. And yeah.
I think it just ties into the bigger agenda to make everyone the same, everyone, the structure of like our identities being the same. It's weird.
I think it's an anti-human agenda. That's the big one that I see overarching, is anti-human. And yeah.
I agree with you.
It's deep.
Because I feel like people feel helpless because they're in this system, and like I spoke to the cognitive dissonance before, but when people start becoming aware of these things, like they don't feel like there's a tangible escape in their life. That's where I think people like you are so incredible, because it gives people hope that there is a community of people who do have a different opinion. Because a lot of the problem is people feel lonely, isolated, and the people in their lives don't agree with them. But have you heard of the Abilene paradox? It's basically this paradox where there's a group of people, let's say there's 10 of us sitting around here, and everyone conforms to a behaviour because people think that they want that behaviour. I think a lot of people have deep reservations around these topics, but are too scared to speak their truth. That's why one of the most powerful things is being the first to make that bold move. I think symbolically what you're doing is being the first person to speak their truth, and then it's giving other people permission to be themselves and express these things that tie in massively to Australian culture. And I think they're super important for our society, because I do see a lot more spoken up recently. Like there seems to be more chaos, but also I feel like I'm seeing a rise in people's voices around these. Maybe it's just my feed, but I'm seeing a lot of people start to speak out in the comments. So I think on one hand, there is a growing like systemization and there's an agenda, but I think there's also a rising voices on the other side too.
100%. Yeah. The grassroots like movement is definitely coming up. More people are speaking up. Yeah. I spoke about this on my stories just the other day. A few people asked me, how do you have the, ability to speak up on these things? And I think one of the things is you've got to realize that you could lose things. You could lose relationships, jobs, whatever, and you have to be okay with that. Like, whatever the worst case scenario is. If I say this thing, what's the worst case scenario? Can I handle that? And if you can, I think go for it. But I do think that we think the worst case scenario, but it never happens.
But people think, I think our brains extrapolate the worst case as death. That's because they're putting us into our amygdala.
But you're not going to die. Like,
rationally, we can say that, but when people are stuck in their emotional limbic brain, like people just, it's so uncomfortable and they're tense and they don't want to. I agree with you totally. I think the worst case is what you lose. But then again, it's like, how can you lose a friendship for someone? All you're doing is finding truth. Like, do you really want to have people in your life?
You're going to be lonely. Can you handle loneliness?
Well, I think that's just the space to find the people that are actually more aligned. And how much better does that feel in your life now?
I can't say. I mean, yes, it's good. It is good. I just have way less friends, but I've got good friends, but way less friends. And there are periods of aloneness where I'm like, damn, I wish I had a community. But I think that's also a part of this agenda, is making everyone digital, making everyone get online and lose the real community. So I think it's not just happening to me just because I'm speaking up on things. I think it's happening across the board. Yeah. That's
what I mean. I think there's these like digital ideological tribes, but I think the importance, and I've seen a lot of stuff in Perth, I've been around it, like these men's communities that are really trying to like create momentum from the grassroots up. I think it's quite powerful because I think there's so many movements around like men trying to explore what it is to be a man in a world where they've had their masculinity demonized.
Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah. I do wish more men spoke up and fought back. But I get that it's hard in a whole society that tells them no.
What do you think about feminism? To wrap this conversation up, I'm super interested around what you perceive there to be in this feminist masculinity sort of debate that's going on. Like with women, like there's this rising of sort of more traditional values, but then there's also the pushing from more of a left perspective that's wrong and anyone can be anything and these gender roles are outdated.
I mean, I still believe in choice, but I do think that we've been brainwashed to think this whole equality thing, and I think we can't ever be equal because we're just different biologically, and there's strengths and weaknesses on both. Like, we've got different strengths and weaknesses, and there's this natural hierarchy. It doesn't mean that women are less than men or vice versa. It just means like, okay, men are way stronger, can work way harder. Like the 9-to-5 suits men. Women, we're way more nurturing. That's just biological in us. We carry children. Our cycle, way different energy levels. So we're just like fundamentally biologically different. And so you can't ever be equal in being so different. Yes, we've got similarities, but I think we need to protect our differences. And I think the feminists might be outbred because they're not really having babies. So all the traditional families, Christian families, whatever, they're all going to have heaps of babies.
Natural selection at its finest. Yeah, I saw a reel the other day from these guys that I used to know who have a podcast. They have a massive female audience, and they were making this reel about great men are just average women, and all of the traits that they were referring to so the argument was around the great, like men who listen and like have all these traditionally the strengths of women with their interpersonal relationships, their ability to listen, be more nurturing, because the men who can do that are considered great. They're put on a pedestal. That's just the default average woman. So they're comparing the natural strengths of women to the things that aren't by default strengths in men, and then using that to contrast that men, it's pretty much a way to belittle men. And I found that was pretty poor considering, But what I found is their audience is all females. So they're getting encouraged. All their content is really putting men down. And they've got a huge platform, like 1 million plus. And it's just crazy that they're getting rewarded. So the cognitive dissonance is being minimized and they feel good about it, right? Because they're getting validated.
And they'll have a wake up moment where they realize they keep attracting these soy boys and like that's not really biologically what they want. Like, yeah. I
find that there's all of these people that I've encountered in the last 3 years, anyone who goes against nature and biology, they either get humbled and course corrected, or I just see it time and time again, and I continue to see it. All these people who are going against evolution and our biology, we're sort of being forced to confront the reality of that it's not natural. What these narratives are being pushed onto us. So you sort of have to trust in the universe, and that's where I guess faith ties in as well, and having an unwavering belief that it's going to play out how it's meant to.
Yeah, I think the natural way of life, like nature just works. It works. And if you go against nature, it's like going against a wave that's constantly pushing you. Like, of course you're going to struggle. If you go with nature, it's going to be smooth sailing. I mean, there's going to be some issues, you know, some tests, some trials that God puts forth. But yeah, going with nature, it's like, I said this on my TikTok the other day, that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, blah, blah, blah. And then someone was like, what about a stay-at-home dad? I'm like, they don't have the milk. What do you, like, you need the mother has got the breast milk. Like, that's just natural. And maybe the father could be a stay-at-home dad, you know, if he's working or whatever. But you have to go with what's natural. Otherwise, you're just adding all these things. Like, okay, then the woman's going to work. She's going to pump her breast milk to have blah, blah, blah. Like, all these added things. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you just go with nature and make it easier for yourself?
Do you have any concluding thoughts for our episode today?
I don't know. I'm probably going to get called really racist from this, but that's fine.
Oh, so nothing new. Will anything new be added? We'll see if any new words can be invented here.
yeah. I'm a bigot. No, it was a good chat. We went deep. I wasn't expecting it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that chat.
Yeah,
thanks,
thank
Lisa.
you.
Thank you for listening to the episode. I hope you got a ton of value out of our guest today. Now, if you enjoyed that episode, don't forget to click the follow button on Spotify and also click the 3 dots and click rate show. Makes a massive difference in helping grow the show and bring on even bigger guests. And also, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It does make a massive difference. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.